Hey RCA Church, it's Pastor Kevin. Good to talk to you on this beautiful Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well. We love and miss you all. Hey, just wanted to remind you, of course, if you know, sometimes our plans change, but our purpose never changes. We're still a church that believes in a God who extravagantly loves. We still belong to a family who generously cares, and we are still becoming people who passionately share the good news of Jesus Christ. I hope you're doing that. I hope you're sharing a little something on social media each day, a Bible verse, a testimony. I hope you're sharing with your friends and family or services. Remember, from what I said on the Tuesday update, we're all evangelists during this time, and I hope you're making the very most that you can of this season. More about that in just a minute, but I wanted to continue to look back on Sunday's message. You know, this past Sunday I talked about how we are different, how Christians, as we face crisis, as we face challenges, how we should be different than the world is. And so I said this, ways we're different from the world is, number one, we live by faith, not by fear. A second thing is that we are sacrificial, not selfish. And then the third thing is that we shine the light. We do not hide it. And then on Tuesday, I added one more point to that message, and I said that we're moving forward. We are not shrinking back. Today, I want to give you one last thought on this not message, and that is ways that we're different from the world. We are in a marathon. We are not in a sprint. Now, we are today, I believe, is right about the 5th week that we have been in this coronavirus crisis when it really began to hit in early March. And I tell you, right about now, Jody is looking so smart for buying all of that toilet paper. I just got to be honest. She's looking like she knew the future. But, you know, I know that we're all ready to be over this. I know we're over it. I know the novelty of it has worn off. But there's been a passage that has really stood out to me in the last few days, and I want to share that with you guys along this thought of that we're in a marathon, not in a sprint. It comes in Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, where it says, "And let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season." Another translation says, "for at the proper time." But I love this, "in due season we will reap if we do not give up." Oh, what a word for us today, church. And I just want to encourage you not to give up. You see, in a longer race, and there was a day in my life back several years ago that I was in better shape and I was running 5Ks and 10Ks, even ran a half marathon at one point. But there is something about running a longer race. You have to pace yourself. You have to be aware of some things in a longer race if you're going to finish well. So I want to talk about just a few things today that I believe will help us. And I'm going to call this 3 tips for a successful season. This season of the coronavirus, 3 tips that I believe will help us. You know, it was 4 weeks ago today that I believe that I shared with you guys my very first Thursday devotion during this season. And I gave you my insight on what I felt like the coronavirus was. If you remember, I said it was an accelerator and it was also a decelerator. So I want to circle back to that because I want to talk about the season we're in and being aware of the season we're in and the acceleration that is happening. So of course, technology use is being accelerated. We've seen that from the last decade or so with iPhones and tablets and just the Internet of Things and wireless everything. But really in the coronavirus crisis, all of that has taken another huge step forward in that it has driven millions upon millions of people online that, you know, just kind of dabbled in it before or didn't really have a social media account. It's driven so many people online. So technology and the online utilization and connecting of technology has just grown. We see that in the church. Social isolation, though, interesting, at the very same time, has jumped, and depression that goes along with that, especially in the younger generation. There seems to be a very interesting correlation in our society that the more connected you are online, the more plugged in you are into all the social media, that the worse your mental health is, the more depressed you become. That's a very interesting correlation that they're just beginning to flesh out and study. But we can see how people are isolated during this time, more connected than ever, but more isolated, and the fallout of that. Another thing, we just realized there are worldwide shifts that are going on, political and economic and even military shifts that are happening during this coronavirus crisis, and things are never going to be the same. But here's the shift that I see, the acceleration that I see, that it is most exciting for us as the church. Finally, the church has arrived at the intersection of its mission and social media, where most of the culture engages and communicates today. Let me say that again. The church, one of the accelerating points in this is that the church, and not just RCA, it's affected us, but the church in general has arrived at the intersection of its mission of reaching people with the gospel of Jesus Christ and all the online resources and social media that is there. We've come to that point. And listen, I believe that as these factors accelerate, God is using them to set the stage for a last days incredible revival before His return. And that just makes me excited. So there's an acceleration. Be aware of the season we're in. It's in a season of acceleration, but also it's a season of deceleration as well. So time alone. Many of you have had time alone in recent weeks that you've never had before. Time with your family, or time just to read a book, or to take a walk, or to work on a hobby, or to do something that you enjoy. And listen, it's been a slowdown on a very personal, very individual basis. And that's been a good thing as well. It's been an acceleration and a deceleration. So we need to understand the season we're in. That's the first thing. The second thing is this: we need to make the most of the season that we are in. It's one thing to understand it, but it's another thing to make the most of it. And I want to challenge all of you guys today. We need to make the very most of this season that we can. Listen, embrace it. Stop fighting it. Stop begrudging it. Yes, it's a new rhythm. It's a new pace. Things are different. But you're not going to do anything that's going to benefit you by digging your heels in and fighting it. Embrace the change that we're in. And listen, enjoy the slowdown. Right? Don't wish it away. I promise you, it's going to be gone quicker than you realize. And when it's away, you may just very well wish certain portions of it back. So enjoy the season that you're in, church. Listen, I want to encourage you, leverage this time. Use this time. Dig in with your relationship with God. Rekindle those relationships with your family, your spouse, and your kids, your neighbors. Start a new hobby. Do something that you enjoy. Leverage this time. Not only realize the season that you're in, but make the most of the season that you're in. And the third thing is this, and I believe this is really going to come to bear in the next few weeks as we begin to look at how we are going to possibly exit this coronavirus season. Number 3 is understand the next season is coming. Understand that the next season is coming. Let me say it this way. This season, the season that we are in, sets up the next season in our life. How we live in this season affects our life in the next season. The decisions in this season determine our destiny in the next season. Listen, come on. The pain in this season, church, is the next season's payoff. What happens now is going to matter then. So again, come on, realize the season we're in, church. Make the most of the season we're in, and then understand that the next season is coming. What do you need to do before the next season gets here? What do you want to change? What do you want to accomplish? How do you want to improve before the next season comes? Because it's coming quicker than you think. And I just want to challenge you and encourage you with that. So listen, my prayer for all of us, church, is that in this season that God would take what the enemy has meant for evil. He meant this for a setback. He meant this to knock us back on our heels, to hurt us economically, to isolate all of us. Listen, I believe God's at work taking all of that negativity and turning it around for our good. And I've explained right here how I believe that He's doing that. So embrace that. And we love you, church. Just know that we understand this is a season we can't do church, but we can still be the church. And we just pray for God's peace, God's protection, God's provision on you and your family. Know that we love you, we miss you, we look forward to the day that we're going to be together again. We think that's going to be soon. You'll be hearing more about that in the few weeks to come, about updates and maybe bringing things back online as it's safe to do so. But listen, call us, email us, let us know how we can serve you and help you. We love you. God bless you, RCA family. We'll see you soon.